Hey, John here. So the wife wanted this fence put up a few years back, and I just put some flowers on there. I don't know, last year or the year before, and it's a pain in the ass to get up there on a ladder and water them every day or whenever you're going to water them. So today or this weekend, I'm going to be putting in a watering system. So I thought I'd get the camera, show some stuff. I don't know how much trouble I'm going to get into, but throw some ideas out there. Anyways, let me go show you where I started. So I plan on putting some kind of drip system in, but I did have a lot of, when I put the irrigation system in a long time ago, had a lot of leftover pipe, 1-inch pipe and 3/4 inch poly pipe, right? Just this plastic stuff. I just got it sitting there for now. It runs along the entire fence line, and I'll show you the other end over there because it's a long walk. I'll go this way. And I'll secure these with some conduit straps or something, depending on where, when I get to that point. But today it's just hooking up the valve, so get some water in here, see if everything leaks. So let's get to that. So ideally, what I'm going to do with that pipe in the back is have the little 1/4 inch pipe probably sneaking through here, even if I have to put a little 1/4 inch drill, just drill a hole in between the slats, and have one of those, fella ain't looking too good, have one of those, stakes you put into the soil, and then the input for the water coming in, so that just sprays, and you can put it on a clock timer, and everything be automatic is what I'm getting at. So let me show where I'm at underneath the, I dug some stuff up here. Oh, so first of all, the irrigation line is that poly pipe, and it runs all the way back to that back garage down there just for water. So that's what I'm piping off of. The water, it's just a valve in the basement and going straight to that spigot out there at that garage. So I knew that was there because I put that in a long time ago, and found where it was in the lower driveway here. So I had to be careful because there's electric also in there leading out to the garage. So found the pipe. It's just the same poly pipe, but this is it's 3/4 inch too, and that was the last of my 3/4 inch out there. So to connect this over here, I'm going to have to use 1 inch because I got a lot of 1 inch left. So I bought I'll show you what I did, but trenched it out a little bit. Like I said, I had to find it, so I went this way. That was the original wire to the garage, just a regular whatever it is, 120, and then trenched this out. So here's where I'm at. That's the end of that pipe that I just showed you from the other garage. And again, everything's loosely, it's just on the back side of that fence, running up where I showed you. And then I got it drooped down here, and you probably can't see over there, I buried a little bit back here, and I'm coming through under this fence here. And now the electric I needed, because we're going to run this off a timer that is automatic, like a long sprinkler, whole system, just one valve here. So this was underground. It's a 7-wire deal for sprinkler wire, but I had used that originally for I just got lucky with that, because otherwise you have to run that too. This is an old PTZ camera that had power and ground to it. It still worked, but I just couldn't control it anymore. I bought some new cameras in the meantime. I'm using that wire, which ran from that pole all the way through, under the driveway into the house. So I've got powers and ground there. So you would have to figure that out if you're going to do, any kind of irrigation with a timer. You definitely need power and ground, or your 2-wire system here for your valve. And this is a set, I think it's a 5-wire deal. So 2 of them are going to be for the timer input, right? So you need like I said, a power, ground, and of course your inputs here. So that's where I'm at with this, and I'm using these the blue ones here that you can get from Home Depot. And then you got to find what you need. This is a male insert I got to go with 1-inch pipe here to connect to the 3/4 inch pipe there. So I bought some adapters. But anyways, a male adapter on this side with the barbed thing, right, like that. And then let me go get some 1-inch pipe, and we'll run that, and I'll show you the rest there. Oh, and this thing here, just a little one. When you get everything done, right, you put this over everything, secure, pack all the dirt in, and there's a little round lid that goes off of that, so you can get to your valve if you need to, whether you want to do manual or whatever. But again, I'll get to that. I'm just showing you. You're caught up now of where I'm at. I plan on just at least getting this watertight or water, thing done today, and I'll probably pick it up tomorrow or whatever for the next step, which is securing that hose to the fence and whatnot. But just throwing out some ideas right now how you could get some water and electric And if you didn't have it, you'd have to run it like I did. Of course, that was years ago, underground, whether you want to rent a ditch witch or do the old manual labor like, where is he? That's manual right there. Manuel. So let me go get some pipe out back and show you how this works. So all the stuff you get from Home Depot, or at least I got from Home Depot, I'm sure you can get it on Amazon or anything, but the problem with this poly pipe is it comes in, I think the minimum is 100-foot rolls, so that's why I got so much left over, and that's why I had all that 3/4 inch piping left over, because I probably needed 2 rolls, or one, you know, when I did the irrigation way up front, I was probably short for like 20 feet, so you have to buy a whole 100-foot roll. That's why there's extra here, but this stuff is fairly cheap. So this is the 1-inch stuff. This is all I have left. So like I said, that's a 3/4 inch. I've got an adapter. Hold on a second. So I've got an adapter. Now, unfortunately, Home Depot, or at least my Home Depot, didn't have what I was looking for was something like this, where this is 1 inch to 3/4, right? As a T though, right? They didn't have that. They do sell them. I've used them before, but so what I ended up doing with that is this is going to be the 2 3/4 inch, you know, inline, and then branching off, just get this adapter 3/4 inch male thread to the 1 inch poly pipe. There's always one way, 2 ways, or you know, several ways to do things. And this is just a plug, going to go on the other side. And then we'll get to the irrigation stuff later, but let me at least get this hooked up. You can buy these clamps, a package of 20, fairly cheap. They're not like the regular worm gear hose clamps. These work well, but either way, you know, the regular hose clamp with your screwdriver and stuff, I like using these because they're nice and easy, simple. I'll show you how they work in a sec, but I use 2 per end. And then, like I said, I'm just going to wiggle this on there. Probably screwing everything up here. Let me get this lined up a little bit better. Again, I don't want no dirt in there, but if you heat these up, it'll work a lot better. But because we got a lot of clay to work with, this will walk right in, no problem. And these are basically tile nips. Same thing, same exact thing, I would imagine. I have a pair of tile nips. They look identical, but this is a tool for doing these clamps. And what I do is I just do one here, and then one at like a 90. Just clamp it on like that, and then just do one a little offset. And that's it. Strong bro. All right, so I'm going to unravel this this hose over there. Hopefully we didn't mess up our accurate measurement. And then with the wire and everything, where's this piece? Like I said, this will get buried like this, right? So twist this valve, and then we could backfill around this this timer or valve housing. And again, for manual, for wiring, for whatever, you wouldn't want to bury that obviously, but that's what these things are for. And they have obviously bigger ones if you're doing multiple valves, but just want to show you. So let's get the other end first. I'm way long, which I expected. We'll just hold it in place for a sec right there. That might not be heavy enough. See what that does. So I'm actually just going to bury most of this now over there without even testing it. Not most of it, just in places to keep this in place, because once we cut this, it's going to want to roll back up. So let me just bury it in a couple places. So doing this, the way we're going to do this, you kind of got to pick the lesser of, you know, because like I said, sometimes this stuff is hard to let's not break it, you know, wiggle into there when you don't have a lot of room. So that's why I dug back this way a little bit to give us a little bit more flexibility. So what I'm going to do is, when it comes time, first I'm going to use this as just a, you know, a guide to where we're going to cut everything. And then when I cut it, this water's got, this line's got water in it still. I've turned the valve off inside, but didn't turn the spigot on to empty it, which I will do, just so there's no pressure in there. Goddamn bugs. So my plan is to use a rubber hammer this way to plug into, I'm gonna get that fella, I could see him. We'll jam it in this way to the pipe going up, put our clamps on, jam it in, secure that, and then probably wiggle this pipe on, the one coming up, because like I said, you would have to use heat, and again, I could probably get away with it without heat, but if you're in a pickle where it's really tight spaces, a heat gun is probably the only way to go, because you don't have a lot of room to wiggle that thing back and forth. And then this part that I just screwed in here, that's why I left a lot there, so we can wiggle that sucker in like that. That's the plan. So let me go shut the water off and go cutting some stuff. Give her a toot. Not too bad. And right about here. So I'm thinking it'd be easier to, oh, don't forget your clamps. Don't forget your clamps. You probably can't see a damn thing, right? You got clamps. Like I said, I do too. I'm sure one, you can get away with one, no problem. Whatever kind of clamp you're using. I just do too. Might have to dig a little out to make that curve right here. And this one, and I'm not going to put these clamps on yet because in case we got to move some stuff around. Hard packed stuff here. I did leave it short, which is definitely what not need to do. But unfortunately, I thought I had, you know, and I bought some. I think I already had some 1-inch complex, so I'm going to go back a little further and clip it again. So because I need a piece a little longer, that's not going to quite do it. I guess the lesson there is leave it long, right? I probably could have. I don't know which one I cut off second. I think I cut one off, two. Probably should have left the second one alone. Definitely the third one. Anyways, no big deal because we've got plenty of pipe, plenty of clamps, plenty of everything. So what I'm going to do here is clip it at this point anywhere, but I want to leave some room to wiggle room, right? I can actually probably use that pipe that we just clipped because when you put the, you know, yeah, we'll see. So this will be, so I got two here. This will be easy to put in here. Oh, yeah. So before I bury this, I'm going to go to the other end of that fence and plug it. And this way, this will be watertight. Before we do the irrigation, you know, on the fence, the drippers and stuff, I want to make sure nothing leaks here. So let's go plug the end and then turn the water back on and see what happens. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna turn the water on, but I was just reading this. So that little bleeder screw there, we just loosen it just a turn, because if there's small debris in there, it'll float out. Then we'll crank that down and see if anything leaks. The valve should be off, and then we'll open the valve manually and then check the fence hose and see if it leaks there. So let's do that. We're at the end of the line, and it's coming out of that bleeder valve. So there's that. I'll shut that. Well, let's shut that off right now. Oh, let's shut that off now. Go check everything else. Let's see here. I'm looking for no droplets on this end. So we're good there. City water pressure, so it's under a good amount of pressure. No drips there. All right, so I think I can take and fill this. I think I can take and fill this in now. I'll wait a sec, see if there's any drips there. I don't know if there's water in there or not. The valve is open, but this feels kind of light. I don't think there's water in there, so maybe it's airbound. So I'm going to cut this back off and redo it again, and hopefully the air and the water will come out of there. Because I want to just fill this up just to check the whole pipe, because this pipe is old and it goes I don't know, like 100 feet, or close to 100 feet. So I want to make sure there's no pinholes or anything, because what we're going to do is take conduit straps and wherever I do it, bolt it to there, because it would water in the pipe. It might be a little heavy just to leave it here. I don't know, but that's why I'm going to secure it to the wall. But let me cut that off and try this again. Yeah, 100% airbound. As soon as I cut the tip off of that on the back side there, it was like, not quite an explosion, but like a tire blowing. So that works. So let me go shut this valve off, and then plug it again, and then check for leaks, and then we're done. We're done for today, at least. I'm going to bury this, fill this valve, and I'll show that too. But and then we'll pick it up. I'm still waiting on these parts to come in. Actually, the drippers. I bought them on Amazon. The drippers and the little 1/4-inch hoses that we're going to come through the fence with. But so I've got a roll of this 1/4-inch poly tubing and some barbed connectors, right? 100 pack. So as you can see, there's two methods. You can couple them or stick them into the hose like we're going to do, into the 3/4-inch hose. This one here. So I'm going to cut a bunch of sections that are 3 foot long, because we have to put these connectors on one end of this 3 foot sections of hose. And what I've done is, I think it's best to like this. And I tried the hot water deal. It works. It works good, but you got to keep reheating the hot water. The heat gun seems to work a little better, but you got to be careful you don't melt it completely. So I'll set the camera up and show you how easy this is to put on these little barbs, because I know in the comments they were saying this tubing, or these barbed connector system from this particular company, they were too big, wouldn't fit on 1/4-inch. Well, it's a very snug fit, I could tell you that. But they do go on. They go on pretty easy too. Let me show you. So it doesn't take much to heat these up, but it does get pretty hot. So I put it on high just for not long at all. And then you better wear gloves, because it does get pretty hot. And then, I don't know if you can see that, but just go all the way down until it seats. And that's what it looks like. So they're easy to go on. And so I've got them just draped over the top, the ones we just made there. You can see them coiled up, just to mark them on the back side of the fence there. They're going to come through actually about here, and the pipe is, well, you can kind of see the pipe there. The pipe's running right around where that thing is. And we're just going to do, like I said, I've just got them draped over there to mark them. And then let's go around the other side of the fence, and I'll show you the part that's how to plug them in. So we're going to be using this funky little tool here. It's just it's got a puncture end, right? Where you jam it through the polyurethane. And this end here, well, I'll show you. Let's go around that. But this is the only tool we're going to use. I got this tool on Amazon. There are a bunch of them. So what I've done already was the pipe, the clamps there. It's about in the center where the flower pot is there. That'll support that, but I've also got them every other, as you can see, just around the beams and posts just to hold that, because the water, I don't think it's going to be drooping or anything like that, but I've already set that up, and those are just conduit, plastic conduit straps. I think that'll do the trick. I do have water in there. I'll have to let it out, when I was testing the water before. But anyways, so this tool here, let me set the camera down and get set up here. What, you see how it's tapered a little bit, that the end of this? I tried a couple things. I tried using a drill. You got to use this tool, I found. If you try to get a drill bit the same size as that, practicing on another piece, I think it's just going to be not as good as a fit as using this, because once this, it's kind of like a punch, goes in there, you see how it's tapered there, it kind of mushrooms it down, or in rather. And when we put our fitting on, this fitting, the way it plugs in and those barbs snap into it, because of the way it mushrooms in, it kind of goes on. I'll have to show you a piece that I was practicing on. Using a drill bit to make this easier, it's not going to do the trick. You're definitely going to use this, and it's kind of problematic. So I'll try it one hand. Nah, you need two hands, just going to slip off. But I just kind of started a twist method until I get it started. Again, if I had two hands, it's go a lot easier, but I'm going to get a drill bit, a little tiny drill bit, to let that water out of there, because it's pretty hard. I'll be right back. Alright, so I chose to use a drill bit that is, about the same exact size, or I want it a little bit smaller, but I don't have one. It's almost the same. It almost fits in that hole there, but it doesn't quite. So I want it to be a little smaller, but obviously you could see it's smaller than the tapered part. But I think this pipe has a little bit of water in it, or it might be under pressure. I don't know, because when I tested the water, there's no way to let it out. I got it plugged, so I'm sure some water is going to come out of here. So we'll just go ahead. Yeah, it actually is. This drill bit is smaller than the tapered end of this. Yeah, that's why I couldn't get it in that one hole. So we'll try this. We'll try this again. I still got to finish the taper, so it was just under a lot of pressure. That's why it wouldn't go in. And that's about the hardest part of this job, is getting that tool in there. So you want the tapered end in there. What it is, it just bottomed out. But like I said, it tapers the the drill bit hole a little bit bigger. So now we use the other end of this. We can force this. I don't know if you see the same thing as again, it's bad, not lighting, but I don't really have good. So we just use that tool, right? Probably should buy a couple of these. They're dirt cheap, and they obviously get dull really quick. But so we got this set up the way this is, and we're just going to push it in that hole, and should hear it kind of snap in there, and that's that. It's hard on a ladder. Can't get any leverage. Yeah, that's a cheap tool. Cheap tool. So what's going on is this. I'm gonna have to modify this. Every time I go to push this in, it wants to see how it's coming out. If this was a solid piece, like this is all a solid piece, and we could just stick it through the hole, but it's open-ended. So I'm going to make something to make this easier, because you really got to force this in, and they might make a tool where this is fully enclosed instead of this half deal. So I'm going to go ahead and make something where I can slip the opened end in, right? Well, I'm sure a heat gun would work. I don't know if it'll compromise that water line, but here's what we're going to try first. So this is just a 1/4-inch drive 10mm socket, right, where we could just stick the open end through and a couple of vice grips, clamp to it for a little bit of force, so we could force it. I don't know, it may or may not work. Well, I did it off camera, so I didn't get a lead cord yet because I'm too lazy. I just got up there and put a lot of mustard into it. Again, because I'm on a ladder, you want it's the more you push, the more you. So I'm gonna have to, I don't know, get a strap or something for this ladder so I can really lean into it and push. But anyways, we got that in. It is very tight fitting. I just didn't want to use a heat gun yet, just because what if it compromises, this makes it too soft, and then the burr, you know, on the other side of it is, you know. So right now this is tight, really tight. There's no play whatsoever. So let me just feed it through here. So I just fed the pipe through here, right? And we're gonna put these, I got these on Amazon as well, whatever that says. Well, made in China you can make out, but I don't have my glasses on. Adjustable something, and they're just little quarter-inch tit on there, which you know is going to be a problem without a heat gun. And then you adjust this for the spray tip, and this jams into the flower pot dirt. So I did have to run a lead cord for the, you know, heating this up. So again, I don't want to use the heat gun on the other side on the big pipe because I don't know if that's going to actually affect it. With just a little bit of might, we can force it in there. So I guess we already know we can put in there, but now there's water in it, so that might make a difference. Yeah, that's pretty close. Problem here is, I won't make the same mistake twice. The water in the line, right? As soon as I heat it up, but I think that's going to be enough. You can see the burr bulge there. I think that's going to be enough. So let's go ahead and test this. The reason I say learn, so I'll run the tube through the fence, you know, before we tap into the line on each, like this one here. You know, I just have this mark, but I'll run it through here and get this side set up with the heat gun so we don't have water in there, because it's like it's defeating the purpose. So anyway, we're coming through here, and let's see if we can set this up so we can film this. I want to see if that water sprinkler, let's just jam it in here for a second. I just thought of something that's actually going to help when it's windy. These won't move now because they're, you know, in the, so I think that'll work. I'll adjust it where it needs to be, but let's go turn the water on and see what happens. And I think what I'm going to do is just crack it a little bit. You see how it's just like you can even do less than that actually. Let's see if we can tighten that down a little bit. Maybe a little more. No. So that's probably where I'll keep it, and I'll put this, let me relocate this in the center somewhere, because half of it's going on the fence, and I think this is going to be doing the trick. Let's see if this goes a little better. So because I'm going to do just the barb first, right? We'll just insert this first, and what I believe the best way, right, is this is just a little tool and it holds it pretty good. Actually holds it really good. So now I can force this into it after I drill my little pilot hole. Let's do that right now. Drill a little pilot hole and then force this in there, and then we can heat up the ends of the hose and both ends of the hose of the sprinkler on the other side and this side with no problem, I'm thinking. Let's try that. Get a little tool and jam that in there. I'm thinking it'll go a lot better without water in the pipe, because it'll be able to push in, mash in a little better. Now let's see if we can get this guy in here with relatively no problems. Oh yeah, that one went a lot easier. That went a lot easier than the first time. So this is just a little tool that, they're pretty common. Just a regular bit thing. So we were able to jam that in there, and that is a very tight fit. So we went around and drilled those little pilot holes, right, for our tool here that has this. And to use this tool with your hand, you're going to get blisters the size of Montana. And I have a lot of holes to do. And as you can see here, the holes created after the pilot hole, it's letting some more water out. That's what I need to push the burr in there, right? So just get yourself a pair of vice grips and in line, right? In line with the hole. Give it a few taps with a dead blow or a hammer, whatever, and it goes right in, just like that tool I just showed you. Be like squeezing it. Otherwise, trying to twist that in, man, it is problematic, and you'll be here all day. So you just get it straight, right? Where your pilot hole was. Give it a few taps. Way easier. Way easier. Trying to force that in manually. That doesn't leak. So another learning curve. That's the first one we did. That is the third time I put that on there. I didn't use heat this time. Not using heat. So I'm just wiggling it on there. This is the second one. First of all, I've got all my all the little burrs put in, right? And now I'm just like, the heat might be affecting that, again. I'm doing everything at once now. The water's relieved, but just here, I'll show you. Just using, you see, that was one of the originals. I put the, I don't know if I can reach that. Get up here. Oh man. So I'm gonna clip this off, right? And drill my little 1/4-inch hole because it just, actually that one might have squeaked through. Maybe not. There we go. Right, so now we could put our sprinkler head on that one, and I'll clip this off flush and put it on here. But again, I'm not using heat. I'm just starting it and just wiggling it back and forth like this. I don't have my tripod, so wiggling it back and forth, pushing it, because this is because when you heat it up, everything wants to bend. I think it's affecting it. I don't know. This is like my first time doing it, but I'm using no heat now, just forcing it on, wiggling it back and forth. And these things are solid. These are stamped in there. I'm pretty impressed with that, so I don't think they're going to leak. And now, not using heat, I don't think anything is going to leak. We'll find out. Let me finish. I've got 14 more to go, so let me finish that, and I'll let you know. Plugged in. So I never heated them up. I just, you got to be a man about it, wiggling them in. I think that's a better way to go, because they form. And once you get over that burr, they form, and everything is good. So I'm going to test this the way it is without the sprinkler heads. There is the one sprinkler head on the very rear, but these are going to be squirting out water. I just want to see what the pressure is in terms of, and I want to see if any of these leak, right? Again, I didn't use heat. I just wiggled that thing on. Believe it or not, like I said, I probably got blisters on my fingers, but you just, push in and wiggle at the same time, and they'll go in. And that thing is solid, doesn't move, so we're good. Let me go test it out and see what we got. All right, so I just turned it on. Plenty of pressure, I guess. Okay, this was the problem child originally. Again, it's all free-flowing. So I don't want to dig holes in the driveway, but they all look like they're not leaking. So I'm going to assume they're not leaking. That's just coming through from things pointing the wrong way. So let me go turn it off and hook up some sprinkler heads. And again, nothing's leaking. The likes so far. So I am going to elect to, use the heat gun for the sprinkler heads, because let's say it does leak a little bit, we're going to be, leaking into a proper place. It's going to save a little on my callous fingers, doing 16 of them. I mean, there's no blisters, but it was kind of like problematic. Doing the heat, it slips right on. So I don't have a problem doing heat with the, you know, with all these. So I picked up this Orbit's indoor-outdoor timer, right, where I was going to use it indoor. The reason being because then I'd have to run an AC power out there. I've got the wiring for the PTZ camera out there already from the outside through around this area, and I actually had it labeled PTZ camera. So this is the wire that comes from outdoors. So we're going to be using that in here, and I have a plug right there. So I'm thinking mounting that thing on the cement wall there for wet locations. So I need two of them. Let's go outside and wire that thing. So the wiring on this is going to be easier, right? But if you had a couple of valves here, all you do is you take one wire. Each solenoid valve has 2 wires. So you take one wire. We'll use the black and white. We'll hook that to the timer common. They're both black and white, so we'll have to. It doesn't matter. Just hook one of them to the common, and one of them to the station. I'll show you that in a second. But if you had more than one valve, you would just take, let's say you had 4 valves in this box, or a bigger box. You would take one of the wires on each solenoid and wire them together. So if there was 4, you'd have all 4 on one, and then each individual one, you go to each station. It's pretty simple stuff. So let me just, and this is the wire for the PTZ, the camera that we cut. So we're just going to pick two wires. I'll strip that out and then go downstairs and wire it that way. So like I said, pretty simple stuff. We'll just do white and green, and I think it was a 6-wire. I'm not sure what that was, but it's underground wire, you know, sprinkler system wire. Just happened to use for the camera, so it works out good. So let's go inside and wire that because we're done here. Now we can wire this thing up. Of course, we'll plug it in later, but in the meantime, all we're using is this common, and then station 1. So that's how easy it is. Just plug them in the holes, right? Just push them up in there. Well, strip their end. So I left the other wires in case, you know, in the future you want to use some other stations. So looks like a plan so far. Let me go. Oop, I don't know why that won't close. There we go. Let's read some directions now. Where was it? Manual. We can go manual, right? All. Well, I only have the one. Okay. Program station 1. Let's go out and take a look, see if that's running manual. I hear water leaking. Yeah, so 5 minutes might be too long because it's already coming out of the basket. I just walked upstairs for crying out loud. Anyways, there you have it. So I've got everything basically, I don't know if you can see in there, you know, just basically on low, the trickle mode. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think the last one is dripping yet, so it takes a little second to get to all 3. So 5 minutes might be a little too long. I've already watered these. So basically it's drowning them. Oh, this is the last one I left off on. The ladder was there, but I think that's a little too much, so you can crank these left or right. So if we go right, it'll cut it down a notch. That might be too much. Cut it back to the left one. That seems about right. Sweet! Anyways, if you want automatic watering, I know. This guy's like, really, you're that lazy? No, but sometimes you forget, and now it's just going to water itself, and I'm thinking probably 5 minutes is too long. I don't want to drown these things. But anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.